Imagine waking up one morning, checking your bank account, and realizing that thousands of dollars are gone. You didn't spend it. You didn't authorize it. Yet the money vanished overnight because of a scam you didn't even know existed. That nightmare? It's called check fraud. And unless you know how it works, you could be the next target. Today, we're breaking it all down in the ultimate guide to check fraud scams. What they are, how scammers trick people, and most importantly, how you can protect yourself. Number 1. What exactly is check fraud? Check fraud is when someone illegally uses checks to steal money. It could be by forging a signature, altering the check, or creating a fake check entirely. Think of it this way. Checks are basically paper promises of money. Scammers know that if they can fake that promise just well enough, they can trick banks and people into handing over real cash. For example, imagine someone steals your checkbook and signs your name to pay themselves. That's check fraud. Number 2. Why should you care about check fraud today? You might be thinking, hardly anyone uses checks anymore. Isn't this outdated? Not at all. Even though digital payments dominate, the Federal Trade Commission reports that check fraud is one of the fastest growing bank scams in America. In fact, the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network issued a nationwide warning after cases doubled in just a few years. Criminals target checks because they're still used for rent, utilities, and large payments. And here's the kicker. Paper checks are much easier to manipulate than digital transactions. Number 3. The most common types of check fraud. Let's break down the main tricks scammers use. 1 is forgery. This is when someone signs your name on a check you didn't write. For example, a dishonest roommate might grab a check from your drawer and sign it over to themselves. Another is check washing. Criminals steal a real check you wrote, like a bill payment, and use chemicals to erase the ink. Then, they rewrite the check to themselves for a larger amount. Imagine sending a check for $50 to your electric company, but the scammer washes it and changes it to $5,000 in their own name. Then there's counterfeit checks. These are entirely fake checks designed to look real, often from businesses or banks. They're usually tied to overpayment scams, where someone sends you a fake check for more than the amount you're owed, asks you to wire back the difference, and by the time the check bounces, your money is gone. Number 4. How do scammers actually get your checks? You'd be surprised at how easy it is. Some steal mail straight out of your mailbox, or even from blue USPS collection boxes. Others work inside businesses, skimming customer payments. And in the digital age, criminals even buy and sell stolen check images on dark web marketplaces. For instance, a scammer might grab your rent check out of a drop box, wash it, and cash it under their name before your landlord ever sees it. Number 5. Real-life example of a classic scam. Picture this. You're selling a used couch online for $400. A buyer mails you a check for $2,000 by mistake and kindly asks you to refund the extra $1,600 by wire transfer. You deposit the check, see the balance appear in your account, and send the refund. A few days later, the bank flags the check as fake and pulls the $2,000 back out. You're now out $1,600 plus the couch. This scam is so common the FTC has entire advisories warning people against it. Number 6. Warning signs you might be dealing with check fraud. If someone insists on paying by check, when other safer methods are available, that's suspicious. Another red flag is if a check arrives for more than you expected. Watch for pressure tactics, like, I need you to send the money back today. And if the check comes from a bank in a completely different state than the sender's address, that's a clue it could be counterfeit. Number 7. How banks handle check fraud. Here's what most people don't realize. When you deposit a check, the bank may show the money as available in your account within a day or two, but that doesn't mean the check has fully cleared. It can take a week or more for the bank to discover the check is fake. By then, if you've already spent the money, you're responsible for paying it back. Banks don't cover you just because you were fooled. That's why scammers love checks. They know the timing gap gives them an opening. Number 8. How to protect your checks. Never leave checks in your mailbox overnight. Use secure drop boxes inside the post office instead of street mailboxes. Keep blank checks locked away at home. If you write checks, use permanent gel ink pens. These are harder for criminals to wash. And always keep an eye on your bank account so you can spot unauthorized withdrawals early. For example, if you normally pay your electric bill by check every month, and suddenly that check number is cashed for thousands of dollars, you'll know immediately something's wrong. Number 9. Smart alternatives to paper checks. One of the best defenses against check fraud is simply reducing how often you use checks. Online bill pay through your bank is far more secure, as payments are transmitted digitally. Services like Zelle or PayPal can also be safer than mailing a check. And many landlords and businesses now accept direct deposits or apps. Think about it. Would you rather trust your money to a flimsy piece of paper or a secure digital transaction with encryption? Number 10. What to do if you're a victim of check fraud. Act fast. Contact your bank immediately to report the fraudulent check. File a police report. It creates a paper trail that banks take seriously. Report the scam to the Federal Trade Commission and the United States Postal Inspection Service if mail was involved. The quicker you act, the better your chances of minimizing losses. For example, if you notice a fraudulent check, within a day or two, the bank may be able to reverse some of the damage. Number 11. Can you get your money back? It depends. If the bank can clearly see you were the victim of forgery, you may get reimbursed. But if you willingly deposited a fake check and then sent money out, it's much harder. That's why prevention is key. Once the money is gone, it's often impossible to recover. In many cases, the victim ends up holding the financial loss, not the bank. Number 12. How scammers use technology to make it worse. Modern criminals don't just wash checks with chemicals. They use high-resolution printers and scanners to create counterfeits that even look legitimate to trained eyes. They trade stolen check images on encrypted chat apps. Some even hack into business accounts and alter digital images of checks before they're deposited. It's a reminder that fraud evolves with technology, so we always need to stay a step ahead. Number 13. How to stay safe if you run a small business. Businesses are prime targets because they write more checks than individuals. If you run a business, use secure check stock with watermarks and microprint that make counterfeiting harder. Reconcile your bank statements daily, not monthly. Consider using electronic payments for vendors. A single fraudulent check can cost a business thousands of dollars, not just in money, but in damaged trust with customers. Number 14. Final thoughts on check fraud scams. Check fraud is sneaky because it plays on trust. A check looks official, and when the money shows up in your account, you feel safe. But the reality is, checks can be delayed traps waiting to explode days later. Protecting yourself isn't just about being cautious, it's about knowing the tricks scammers use and staying one step ahead. Number 15. The rise of check kiting. Check kiting is when scammers take advantage of the time it takes for banks to process checks. They move money between accounts using checks they know will bounce, creating the illusion of funds. For example, a fraudster may deposit a check from one empty account into another, quickly withdraw cash before the bank realizes the first account has no money, and vanish. Number 16. Inside job check fraud. Not all check fraud happens from strangers. Sometimes, employees in businesses steal checks or manipulate payments. An accounts payable clerk could issue unauthorized checks to themselves or a fake vendor. Because these people already have access, their fraud can go unnoticed for months, costing businesses huge losses. Number 17. Stolen identity and check fraud. Scammers often combine identity theft with check fraud. They might use your stolen personal details to order checks in your name. Then they cash those checks at different banks before you even know they exist. By the time you notice, your credit and reputation could already be damaged. Number 18. Mobile deposit check fraud. With the rise of mobile banking, scammers exploit mobile deposit features. They deposit a check using a phone app and then try to cash the same check at a bank branch. Without proper tracking, a single fake check can be deposited multiple times before being flagged. Number 19. The mystery shopper scam. Scammers send victims a check as payment for a fake mystery shopper job. The victim is told to deposit the check, keep a small amount, and wire the rest back. The job sounds easy, but the check is counterfeit. By the time it bounces, The victim is on the hook for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Number 20. Rental and housing scams. Scammers target renters by sending fake checks for security deposits or first month's rent. They later cancel the deal and demand the money back. Landlords and tenants both fall victim to these scams, especially in hot rental markets where people act quickly out of fear of losing a place. Number 21. The role of organized crime. Check fraud isn't always a lone scammer working out of a basement. In many cases, it's tied to organized crime rings. These groups steal checks in bulk, wash them, and distribute them across networks to cash out quickly. That's why some frauds seem so widespread. They're backed by coordinated criminal organizations. If you've ever received a check that felt off, what did you do? Did you deposit it, throw it away, or call the bank? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear how you handled it.